Mrs. Harrington told me that you guys have been working on fiction books, stuff like that. So I have devised a lesson today that helps us understand what goes into making fiction books and how we can make sense of that. Okay? So, therefore, read as I write this, find out what exactly we're doing today. We will be successful if and the student of the day is not here, so Wes, can you read the reading intention?
Today
Marcus is
we'll
here.
learn
Today we will,
be
the word is reviewing.
reviewing what makes a
Fictional.
fictional story.
Okay, good. Coyote, please read with the success criteria with you.
We can describe the parts about fictional story using the geographic organizer.
A graphic.
A graphic organizer.
Do you guys know what a graphic organizer is? Have you guys ever used one?
No.
Guess what? Today you're going to learn how to use one.
Yay! Something new to learn how to use.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you guys are excited. What's really nice about the graphic organizer is that it helps you make sense of what you're reading. Sometimes I get confused, I get things jumbled up, I start thinking about other parts of the story, and this breaks it down for you so you know who the characters are, what the setting is, what happens, why things are happening. That way when you're done reading, you actually have a better understanding of what you read. Alright? So, to do that, I would like to go over, sit down and read you guys a story, one of my favorites actually, and then we're going to use the graphic organizer together. Alright? We're going to use the Elmo. Alright? So, I'm going to call you guys up at my table and have a nice seat on the circle carpet spots where you guys normally sit. Alright? So, Jalen. Alright. Castleton, please have a seat. Yes, it.
Can we bring over our chairs?
No chairs. It's too crowded. Thanks for raising your hand after me. Say Nichols, go over. That ain't some college. You two guys.
I'm actually using it.
Alright, UVM, sit down. You do, Jalen. Alright. Does everybody feel like they're in a comfortable spot?
Yes.
Everybody can see the book?
Yes.
Can all hear me very well? Okay, good. Alright, who's familiar with Frog and Toad? I should see everybody's hand up because I know for a fact you guys are familiar with Frog and Toad.
I'm not really. Does the teacher last? Do you let it do it? I'm not joking.
Alright, one of my favorite stories from this is actually called The Story. It's pretty neat. Oh, did you let in? Thank you. Oh no.
Someone's getting taken out of order.
That's okay. Maybe you can teach her. If you pay close enough attention, you can teach her when she comes back how to use a graphic organizer. Alright? Amber, you should just have a leave. Alright, so it's called The Story. Alright? So, looking at the pictures really quick, I want you guys to think about what may happen in this story. Alright? I'm just going to show you the pictures first. Don't try to cheat and read some of the words below them. Take a quick look at the pictures. Try to think about what might be happening in the story. And if you know the story,
I don't.
because some of you are a little older, you might know it.
I don't.
Don't cheat and tell your neighbors what happens. What's he doing?
Banging.
Banging his head.
He's got to see.
Alright, that one's only got one picture. Look at that. Oh. Now remember these pictures when I start reading, okay? And I'll show you the pictures again as I read. Alright, if I turn like this, can everybody see?
No.
Yes.
No? Alright, how about if I put that here? Can you see?
Yes.
Yes. See? Yes. Now I can see.
Alright, everybody? David?
Yeah, I can see.
I
moved.
Yes.
So he could
Okay.
see. I moved
Oh,
so I could see.
thank you very much. It's a nice thing to do. Alright, as I read, what are you guys going to be doing?
Listening.
Listening
Attention.
with your
Uh,
acting, listening,
Listening.
actively listening. So you're going to be looking at me as I'm reading.
Don't tell it.
That's right, so you shouldn't be talking at all. 'Cause if you're talking, that means you're not listening and then you're distracting your neighbor. Right? 'Cause don't forget, we have to do the graphic organizer after this. I'm going to need your help. Alright, so the story. One day in summer, Frog was not feeling well. Toad said, Frog, you are looking quite green. But I always look green, said Frog. I'm a frog. Today you look very green, even for a frog, said Toad. Get into my bed and rest. Toad made Frog a cup of hot tea. Frog drank the tea, and then he said, tell me a story while I'm resting. All right, said Toad. Let me think of a story to tell you. Toad thought and thought, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. I will go out on the front porch and walk up and down, said Toad. Perhaps that will help me think of a story. Toad walked up and down on the porch for a long time, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Then Toad went into the house and stood on his head. Why are you standing on your head? Asked Frog. I hope that if I stand on my head, it will help me to think of a story, said Toad. Toad stood on his head for a long time, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog.
That must have made him dizzy.
Right. Then Toad poured a glass of water on his head. Why are you pouring water on your head? Asked Frog. I hope that if I pour water on my head, it will help me to think of a story, said Toad. Toad poured many glasses of water on his head, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. What do you guys think he's going to do next?
Bang his head.
Yeah, you remember that from the pictures? Let's see if you're right. Then Toad began to bang his head against the wall. Why are you banging your head against the wall? Asked Frog. I hope that if I bang my head against the wall hard enough, it will help me think of a story. You guys think it worked?
No.
Probably not.
Dizzy.
Alright, I am feeling much better now, Toad, said Frog. I do not think I need a story anymore. Then you get out of bed and let me get into it, said Toad, because now I feel terrible. Frog said, would you like me to tell you a story, Toad? Yes, said Toad, if you know one. What kind of story do you think he's going to tell now?
The story that he just did.
Maybe. Let's see if you're right. Once upon a time, said Frog, there were two good friends, a frog and a toad. Frog was not feeling well. He asked his friend the toad to tell him a story. The toad could not think of a story. He walked up and down on the porch. but he could not think of a story. He stood on his head, but he could not think of a story. He poured water over his head, but he could not think of a story. He banged his head against the wall, but he could not think of a story. Then the toad did not feel so well, and the frog was feeling better. So the toad went to bed, and the frog got up and told him a story. The end. How was that, Toad? Asked Frog. But Toad did not answer. He had fallen asleep.
Yeah, was right.
Good job.
Oh.
Wow. And you guys all did a great job listening, except for my two guys that are lying down right now. What a good active listening. Thank you. Way to lead by example, guys. All right, so I'm going to do my best handwriting, which is not very good because I did not practice when I was in 3rd grade properly. To write. That work?
Yes.
All right. We're going to fill this out together. So I'm going to show you guys the sheet really quick while it's warming up. What do you guys see on here?
Squares.
Yeah, the squares. And each one is
Rectangles.
title.
Rectangles.
Okay?
Rectangles and rectangles.
So each one is titled. And they're titled main characters, setting, supporting characters, problem, and solution.
Main characters.
Right. So, what we're going to do is we're going to think back about the story we just read and fill this in to help us remember it better and to make more sense of it. All right, so we'll start with the main characters because that's pretty easy. Who are the main characters in our story? Wes.
Frog and Toad.
Frog and Toad. So my neatest handwriting. I'm sure when you guys do this, it'll be even neater than mine. So Frog and Toad. And are there any supporting characters? No. And is that okay that there wasn't any supporting characters in our story?
Yes. No. Just right now.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just right. I know.
Or I can just leave it blank. All right, for now.
Or just cross it out.
But I forgot the most important part. Oh man. How do I know what story I'm writing about?
Setting.
No, how do I know what
Title.
what's- Title. Where should that go? Where do you guys see title there?
Middle.
In that
In the middle. And what was the title of the story?
Frog and Toad.
No, that's the title of the book. What's the name of the story that we read?
The story.
The story.
That's right. It's pretty easy to remember. I know.
You said, what was the title of the story?
That's why it's funny.
It's the story.
So, what was the setting? Does everybody know what the setting is? What's the setting?
It's the place that they're doing it at.
Yes, and where was that? Jalen?
Home.
Home? Whose home?
At the house.
Whose house?
Frog and Toad's house.
They live separately. Wes, whose home was it?
Toad's house.
Toad's house, because Toad.
How come it was Toad's house?
Because Toad asked him to get into his bed.
They could live in the same house.
They might. But Toad had called it his home, so we know it was at Toad's house, not both their houses. So now we are at the problem. What was the problem in the story? Coyote?
That he could not think of a story.
Yeah.
So he banged his head, dumped water on him, walked around, walked up and down, and before he would stand on it, even on his head.
Yeah. So the problem was that he couldn't think of a story. I know that Frog was sick, but that wasn't the main point of the story. The main thing was Toad was trying to think of something to tell him, trying to think of a story. So the problem was Toad could not think of a story.
To tell Frog.
Alright. Now the solution. This might be a little harder. Does everybody know what a solution is? What's a solution? Dante, what's a solution?
Where they, solve the problem?
Yeah, you're solving the problem. It's yes.
I know how to solve the
Oh, you know how they solve the problem. Okay. I've called on you a lot though. Anybody else? How did they solve the problem?
Cause told Frog a story about once upon a time there were a frog and a toad who and the toad told the frog to lay down and the frog asked the toad to figure out a story to tell him and he ran up and down the stairs.
Yeah, where did he get that story from? Anybody help her? Where did they get that story from that he finally told at the end?
The day.
From the day, yeah. Wes.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, how could we state that differently that we could actually write on here? We can't just say you got that from the day. Carrie, what could we say? From the problem. Think about the story he told at the end. What was in the story? What was the story based on that they finally came up with? Jalen?
Frog told the toad when he wasn't feeling good. Frog told the toad the same exact thing that happened
Yeah.
in Toad's house when Frog wasn't feeling good.
So, Frog used the story, made up the story of something that actually happened.
Yes.
So he took what Toad did and made a story out of it. That's pretty cool. And do you guys think it helped Toad feel a little better? Because he was resting at the end? You think it helped? Yeah, and my gentlemen in the back are not sitting and actively listening. Alright, thank you guys. So, help me write this. So I should say what the solution was he created a story from their own from Toad's experience. Now, when I use the word experiences, does everyone know what that means?
Yes.
What does it mean?
It means that you can't they think about something that they did.
Yeah, it's something that you've done or thought about. It's an experience you've had. Like a lot of you have gone, David, a lot of you have probably gone trick-or-treating because we just had Halloween. That was an experience. And you can probably do a story about that. Alright? So I actually have more of these to hand out to all of you guys. What I would like to do, if it's okay with Mrs. Harrington, is let you guys find your own fictional book. Remember, it's got to be fictional. Sit down and read it, and then fill out your own graphic organizer to show me that you guys know how to use one. We don't have any supporting characters. That's fine. You can leave it blank. I'll just cross it out. See? No supporting characters. It was just the two main guys. Alright? So why don't you guys go have a seat at your tables, and I'll call you to get a book when I think you're ready.
I have a book on my desk.
You do? Is it a fictional book?
How'd you come
Yes. You guys, I'm actually going to leave that up in case you need to refer back to it and how to fill it out.
I'm gonna start reading.
Okay.
And I like it up walking. Is this fiction?
So quietly over your seats, and when I think we're ready, I'll let you go through the book.
Miss Harrington, can I quickly sharpen this? Or can I not
Yes,
sharpen
definitely.
You may sharpen it.
Okay. I'm still waiting for ready table. get your book, come see me and I'll give you your graphic organizer. Connor, you just read one section of that, and then I want you to do a graphic organizer about it, okay? You don't have time to read the whole thing. Chapters. Can you find a different book for me then? So you can participate? I'd very much appreciate it. Thank you, Connor. St. Michael's.
What does support?
Dante. Remember after you get your book, I'm gonna get your graphic organizer. Supporting characters. It means the other characters that are in it, that aren't the main characters. That'll can read much. That's okay. Thank you. Dante, can I see your book? I want to make sure it's a good book for this.
Coyote did it. Get her
Can you get a different book, please? Just slightly different. Something a little more. A little less of a picture, but a little more. Yes. St. Michael's, you didn't follow directions.
Yes,
You guys
you
can come
got
get a
it.
graphic organizer when you
Okay.
got your books.
Don't think
forgot the
language
Marcus
is
College.
of the fourth
Castleton,
section.
go ahead. See what
Forgot
goes to
Marcus
it,
College.
picking out one. All right. Make sure you remember that. It's in my book. Back to me. And you can't do the one we already did.
I'm doing a lost got Marcus got it.
Marcus, pick out a book. Pick out a book.
Is this
And
a
come
quick
see me.
one?
I don't think so. Not quite.
Coyote, one of these. Coyote, one of these.
This one?
I really like to thank everybody that got to work right away when I sat down. Sure. There you go. Marcus, got something?
Got the Marcus College.
The Marcus College?
Yes, that's what I call my paper.
Marcus University? Caleb, I know you just got here. You missed it, so I'll help you out. You need to pick out a fictional book. I'll sit down with you. I'll show you how to use one of these, okay? So pick out one of the fiction books. Thank you. What's your question? That's his name. Remember guys, don't make the mistake I did. Make sure you put the title on there. And put your names at the top.